Sketz, you have an arrest warrant out of Pima County Justice Court on charges of assault, domestic violence assault, and criminal damage. His warrant lists a bond of $1,000. I'm going to reduce that to $500. I'm appointing attorney Gary Grigovich to represent you, and you're going to be seen on this matter on Monday, April 7th at 1 o'clock on video. You're excused.
Go out that door, so females, right, man?
I'm sorry?
Go out that door downstairs, so it's me.
And Your Honor, this is a Spanish interpreter. The list doesn't indicate any Spanish speakers, but I don't know if that's been verified.
Can the jail verify?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct. We don't have any Spanish speakers.
You're excused.
Okay, thank you. Good night.
What's your name, sir?
Whittenflat II.
I'm sorry, say again?
Eric Whittenflat II.
Thank you. Mr. Platt, you have several matters. You've got 2 warrants out of South Tucson City Court. One is lists charges of disorderly conduct and threats and intimidation, and the other lists charge of trespassing, and each of them carries a $1,000 bond. I'm going to reduce the bond to a total of $500. Appoint attorney Michael Vaughn to represent you, and you're going to be seen on Monday the 7th at 10 a.m. on those charges.
Thank you. Is that it?
Also have a city court case that is in warrant status on criminal trespass. I'm releasing you on that one. I am appointing a city public defender to represent you, though. You're not to have contact with any alleged victim or return to the incident location. And you are going to be seen on June, or your case will be non-transport actually on June 6th at 9 o'clock, Tucson City Court.
Does that mean non-transfer?
It means that you are not going to be brought to court, but your public defender will be in court representing you.
Okay.
All right. You're excused. Hello, what's your name?
Stacey Eileen Shabert.
Okay. You have an arrest warrant out of Western Pinal Justice Court.
Yes, sir.
The charge listed is theft.
Yes,
And
sir.
a bond listed on this warrant is $500. So, and this warrant is from it's like it was from September of last year. So $500 bond. Your next court date is April 23rd at 9 a.m.
Yes, sir.
All right, you're excused.
And we got doors, so females. Conus?
Hello, what's your name, sir?
Arthur Fonz Radicanias.
Mr. Conyers, you have a couple of cases in Tucson City Court. The most recent one is from today, charge of possession of drug paraphernalia. And you have another charge from February of this year listing charges of drug paraphernalia, prescription only drug possession, and trespassing. We're gonna order no alcohol or illegal drugs. Don't return to the incident location or have contact with the alleged victim.
Okay.
I am releasing you on these charges. I am appointing the city public defender to represent you.
All right.
And you do have a felony hold, it looks like. So we're gonna set a court date of June 6th. 9:00 a.m. And I'm appointing the public defender, the city public defender, to represent you. You will not be transported to court. Your public defender will be in court representing you, though. June 6th, 9:00, Tucson City Court. You're excused.
Silva? Look at that chair right there.
It's in the-
Hello, what is your name?
Anthony Manuel Silva.
Mr. Silva, you have two previous cases that are still pending, both of them domestic violence cases. One is from March of this year, 4 counts of domestic violence, disorderly conduct. And the other one is also, this one is from yesterday, it looks like. 2 counts of domestic violence, disorderly conduct, 2 counts of domestic violence, failure to comply with a court order, and 1 count of drug paraphernalia. And then you have a case from today, domestic violence, disorderly conduct, domestic violence, failure to comply with a court order, 2 counts of that. I'm going to order that you not commit any acts of domestic violence. You're not to possess or consume any alcoholic beverages or illegal drugs, no firearms or other weapons. Although contact with him is okay, you are not to be at the home or workplace of Manuel Silva. Bond is set in the amount of $500. I'm appointing the city public defender to represent you. Video review is scheduled for April 15th at 1:45. If you post bond and are out of custody by that date, then an out of custody pretrial date will be April 21st at 10 o'clock.
Yes.
All right. And you're represented by the city public defender. You're excused.
First, does that mean all those false charges are going to be represented the same day?
All of the charges, whether they're false or not, will be the same day. Yes.
So I won't have a court on the 15th. I'll just have court on the 21st.
If you do not post the bond, your court date will be a video review on the 15th.
Yeah.
If you do post the bond before April 15th, then you have an out of custody date of April 21st at 10 o'clock at Tucson City Court.
Are they all in justice court or city court, sir?
I just said city court, did I not?
Okay, sorry about that. Thank you very much.
All right.
Workman, Brandon.
Hello, what is your name?
Brandon Dion Workman.
Okay, you have warrant in Tucson City Court. Relieving yourself in public and failure to appear. This is from January of 2022. Criminal damage and failure to appear is from also January of 2022. Criminal trespass is also from January of 2022 and failure to appear on that. And you have a probation hold, felony probation hold. I'm ordering that all previous conditions of release that were imposed when you were first cited for these remain in effect. Bond is set in the amount of $500, and the city public defender is appointed to represent you. Video review is scheduled for April 15th at 1:45. And so you're helped both on your probation matter and on the city court cases. You're excused.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Austin.
Good evening, Your Honor.
Hello, what's your name?
Christian Austin, sir.
See what we have here. Austin.
Thank you.
Oh, just listen right now.
Oh, wait a minute. Hmm. Mr. Austin, you're charged with a felony possession of a narcotic drug. I'm going to order that you not possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and do not return to location of the alleged incident.
Sure.
I'm going to release you to the supervision of pretrial services. Cooperate with pretrial services. And we're also going to put you in the steps. Actually, I need to read a statement to you on that. Okay, this is a statement followed up by a question.
Hey,
Just listen. What are you?
You may be eligible to participate in a diversion program called STEPS that requires you to participate in a plan specific to your needs for a short time. If you choose to participate and complete the program, these felony drug accusations in your arrest report will be permanently dismissed without you ever being formally charged. Are you
wonderful.
interested in getting released from jail custody now and learning more
Yes.
about the program at your next hearing?
Yes, please.
Okay. So
Listen.
we'll place you in steps in. Steps date is April 14th at 9, and preliminary hearing. Does defense waive time on the prelim?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, that'll be then May 5th at 1:30. The public defender is appointed to represent you. Okay, let's approve that one. You also have a charge of driving under the influence in Pima County Justice Court. We're gonna order no alcohol or illegal drugs, no return to the incident location, and don't drive without a valid license. I'm gonna release you on that matter with a court date of April 15th at 8:30 a.m.
Thank you.
and that will be in Pima County Justice Court. Let's prove that one. Okay, and looks like that's it. You're excused.
Hey, wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. So sorry. Yeah.
Hello, what is your name?
Good evening, Brian Lee Aldrich.
Okay. You have several matters, Mr. Aldrich. Felony charges are possession of a dangerous drug and possession of drug paraphernalia. Will order no alcohol or illegal drugs and do not return to location of the alleged incident. The state's recommendation is, let me take another look at this. The state's recommendation is that I hold you on $1,000 bond with pretrial services supervision. Be posted for time credit. Defense wish to be heard.
Yes, Judge, we're asking that he's released to pretrial services and a steps hearing is set. The charges were identified as nonviolent. He appears to have a nonviolent history and long ties to Tucson. So we're asking for release, and a steps hearing.
looking at all his misdemeanor cases in city court, I'm not inclined to release him on the city cases, so he's gonna
Judge,
have, go ahead.
given your inclination, we're asking for a $100 bond for time credits.
All right. State wish to be heard.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna set a $500 bond, appoint the county public defender, and let's read the step statement. You may be eligible to participate in a diversion program called STEPS that requires you to participate in a plan specific to your needs for a short time. If you choose to participate and complete the program, these felony drug accusations in your arrest report will be permanently dismissed without you ever being formally charged. And although I'm not releasing you, I'm reading this statement as it is written. Are you interested in getting released from jail custody now and learning more about the STEPS program at your next hearing? So the question is, do you wish to participate in STEPS?
Yes, Judge, we're asking for the steps hearing.
Okay, STEPS hearing is April 14th, 9 o'clock. Preliminary hearing is April 15th at 1:30. The public defender is appointed. No alcohol or illegal drugs. Don't return to the incident location. And let's approve that. You also have an arrest warrant out of Pima County Justice Court on a shoplifting charge. I'm not going to hold you on this warrant. I'm going to give you a court date of April 15th. Oh, wait a minute. That conflicts with the felony date. We have another arraignment date. Yeah, other than the 15th. Sure. All right, 17th. Okay. April 17th at 8:30. On the misdemeanor warrant and justice court. You have 7 different cases in Tucson City Court. Drug paraphernalia from 2023, trespassing and contempt of court in 2023, drug paraphernalia from 2023, trespassing and drug paraphernalia from 2023, trespassing from 2024, drug paraphernalia from 2024, drug paraphernalia and shoplifting from 2024. And Bond is set in the amount of 500. The city public defender is appointed on these city court cases. I'm sorry.
We needed to get him off the 15th.
Yeah, we need to move him from the 15th, not to the 17th, though.
No, it's the 18th.
Sure. Video review, April 18th. 1:45. And I've noted the other holds. And city public defender represents you on those. That's it. You're excused.
Mm.
Good evening. What's your name?
Greg Coleman.
Okay. You are charged with domestic violence, stalking, and burglary in the 3rd degree and robbery. We're going to order no alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or other weapons, don't commit any acts of domestic violence, don't have contact of any kind with Cynthia Morgan, and stay away from her home and workplace. State's recommending a $15,000 bond with pretrial services supervision if posted. We'll hear from the defense.
Judge, Mr. Coleman does have a DOC hold, so we're asking for a $3,000 bond for time credit.
All right. And we'll hear from the state.
Your Honor, the state is recommending the bond based on the defendant's criminal history. There's a concern, there's an ongoing DV history. The defendant has 7 prior convictions, among 4 are aggravated DV. In addition, he has 8 misdemeanor DV convictions as well. This offense was committed while the defendant is on a parole warrant on a felony. In addition, looks like he's on probation on a misdemeanor case.
Okay. Thank you. Bond is set in the amount of $15,000. County public defender is appointed. The next court date is April 15th at 1:30 on that case.
No.
Tucson City Court, you are on probation for, let's see, you're on probation for charges of trespassing, threats and intimidation, 2 of them, and disorderly conduct. There's a petition to revoke your probation, alleging there's reasonable cause to believe conditions of probation have been violated and that defendant failed to remain law abiding, failed to attend review hearings to the court, consumed/possessed meth and illegal drugs, and consumed/possessed alcohol, beer, and returned to Circle K stores. So
You'll have court date.
we'll enter a denial of that. And we'll set bond in the amount of 500. Appoint the city public defender to represent you. And we'll note the DOC and felony holds. And we'll set a video review on April 14th at 1:45. This is in Tucson City Court. And you're excused.
The one thing,
Hello, what's your name, sir?
David Dworkin.
Let's see. Okay, you got a couple matters here. You're charged with aggravated driving under the influence. Will order no alcohol or illegal drugs. Don't drive without a valid driver's license. No firearms or other weapons. The state is recommending a $10,000 bond with pretrial services if posted. And we'll hear, well, before we get there, you've also got a warrant out of Pima County Superior Court listing 2 counts of aggravated DUI and listing a $2,500 bond. On the new charge, the state's recommending $10,000 with pretrial services supervision. On the warrant, they're recommending the $2,500 with pretrial services supervision if posted. We'll hear from the defense.
Judge, we're asking that Mr. DeWorkin is released to pretrial services on both of these. He is fully employed. Pretrial services identified these charges as nonviolent. He's lived in Tucson for over 30 years. He has confirmed housing. He has no felony priors. And these, it looks like, Judge, these were likely filed and then dismissed and refiled. So I know that leads to a lot of confusion with clients that they're unsure that something is refiled. So we're asking that he's released on pretrial services. There are no new allegations. So given that he is not, it appears that he's not driving and that there are no new allegations of DUIs, we're asking that he's released to pretrial services.
Okay, we'll hear from the state.
Your Honor, as to the warrant, the state is recommending the warrant amount requested by the court. It is a refile nonetheless. I do note, Your Honor, for that case, the defendant had a BAC of 1.73. He does have a history of prior DUIs, not only involving a 2022 case. There's 2 others from a little bit older, from 96 and 2003. Nonetheless, there's 2 new DUIs before the court. The main concern as well, Your Honor, is the risk to the community, especially based on the new case. Based on the information provided, defendant driving 100 miles per hour with the intent that he had, not only can he only harm himself, but also the community at large.
Thank you. $10,000 on the new case, public defender appointed. Court date is April 15th at 1:30. Pretty much the same conditions on the warrant, except that the bond is $2,500. Public defender appointed. That court date is April 11th at 1:30.
And Judge, just for clarity, the April 11th is an arraignment, correct?
Let's see. Yes. Okay, you're excused.
So we'll have,
Galito, Galito.
Hello, what is your name?
Look, good evening, Your Honor. My name is Michael Anthony Galindo hyphenated Scott.
Okay. Let's see, you're charged with 2 counts of disorderly conduct and with discharging a firearm within the city limits. We're in order, no alcohol or drugs, no firearms or other weapons. Don't have contact with the alleged victim. Stay away from the incident location. And the state is recommending $7,500 bond with pretrial services supervision if posted. And we will hear from defense counsel.
Judge, we're asking that Mr. Galindo Scott is released to pretrial services. He is fully employed. He's a plumber. He's been with the same employer for a year and a half. Pretrial services identified these charges as nonviolent. He's a lifelong resident, has no felony priors, and if you're released, he'd go home to his father's house. So, given that he has no priors, Judge, we're asking that he's released to pretrial services.
Okay, let's hear from the state.
Your Honor, the state does acknowledge the defendant does not have any prior convictions. Nonetheless, with the charges before the court, the defendant is facing mandatory prison if convicted. There are 2 individuals listed as victims with their initials, which signifies that being minors. The defendant forces his weight or try to have conversations or assist the victims when they didn't want to have contact with him, Your Honor. At that point, the defendant not only was consuming alcohol, also admits consuming cocaine. At that point, Your Honor, the defendant discharged his weapon. There are 10 spent cartridges located on the scene. And the defendant also had 2 weapons in his residence, which was also located by law enforcement through the search warrant.
All right, thank you. Bond is set in the amount of $5,000. Your court date is April 15th at 1:30, and the public defender is appointed to represent you.
Thank you.
You're excused.
Yeah.
Hello, what is your name?
Sean Oliver.
Okay, Sean Oliver.
Wait, where's Miguel at? I said Miguel, not Oliver.
Wait, I don't think Miguel was in line. Yeah.
Oh, he might be right here.
I don't say Oliver Thorsten, you're fine.
I can't.
Don't.
Oh, you're fine.
Okay, so let's just. Judge, it looks like we're going to find Mr. Miguel. If it's okay, can we move forward with Mr. Oliver for now?
Sure. Just a minute.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you didn't do anything. Just
Okay, Mr. Oliver, you're charged with aggravated domestic violence. I'm going to order that you not commit any acts of domestic violence. You're not to possess any firearms or other weapons, and no alcohol or illegal drugs.
Yes.
And you're not to have contact of any kind with Tracy Oliver Colt, and stay away
Yes.
from her.
That's my aunt. That's my aunt.
we're just
sorry.
listening right now.
Okay. Yes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Sir, okay. You have a right to remain silent. It would be wise if you would exercise that right. Okay? Talk to your attorney only about this. All right. So let's see, where was I? The state is asking for a $5,000 bond with pretrial services supervision if posted. We'll hear from the defense.
Judge, we're asking that Mr. Oliver is released to pretrial services. He's currently applying for disability. He's in touch with DES and actually had a meeting with DES today. So he's in the process of getting disability. He's a lifelong resident of Tucson, and the victim in this case does not object to his release. So we're asking that he's released to pretrial services.
Okay, just a minute. We'll hear from the state.
Defendant has multiple DV convictions, felonies, and misdemeanors. That is the concern for the state and an ongoing continuing risk to the victim. That is correct. The victim does not object to the defendant's release. Nonetheless, she does object on the defendant returning, and she does not want any further contact.
Okay. I'm going to add to the condition that you get a one-time return visit with a police escort to get your belongings. I'm going to step bond in the amount of $5,000. Your court date is April 15th at 1:30. The public defender is appointed. Pretrial services supervision if the bond is posted. You're excused.
Yeah.
Other way.
Hello, what's your name?
Ricky, Miguel.
All right, let's see what we got here.
Oh.
Outside.
Mr. Miguel, you're charged with misconduct involving weapons as a prohibited possessor. State's recommending a $10,000 bond with pretrial services supervision if posted. We'll hear from the defense.
Judge, Mr. Miguel does have a DOC hold, so we're asking for a $3,000 bond for time credit.
All right. And we'll hear from the state.
Your Honor, the defendant has a history of violent and assaultive behavior involving weapons. He has 5 prior convictions and instant offense being committed while he's on parole release.
Thank you. 10,000 with pretrial services supervision. Public defender appointed April 15th, 1:30. You also have a misdemeanor case in Tucson City Court, obstruction of a public thoroughfare. I take note of your other holds. I am going to release you on the Tucson City Court misdemeanor. I'm appointing the city public defender to represent you. And we're going to give you a non-transport review June 6th at 9 a.m. And defendant arraigned. And don't return to the incident location is condition of release. All right, you're excused.
Sorry, Jason.
Good evening.
Hello, sir. What's your name?
Jason Michael Shy.
Okay. Let's see. All right, you've got a couple of matters. The first one we'll deal with is Superior Court arrest warrant. Charges on that warrant are criminal damage greater than 10,000, accident involving damage to vehicle, misdemeanor, dangerous drug possession, narcotic drug possession, and drug paraphernalia violation. $2,000 bond is listed on this warrant. However, the state is asking for 10,000 with pretrial services supervision. We'll hear from the defense.
Judge, we're asking that Mr. Shy is released to pretrial services. This is another one that appears to have been refiled. He didn't receive any notice of this. He additionally was in touch with an attorney who he intended to retain on this case in the event that it were refiled. So he hadn't received any notice about this case. These charges were identified by pretrial services as nonviolent. He's self-employed. He's been a Tucson resident for 35 years. He tells me that he owns his home. So we're asking that he's released to pretrial services.
We'll hear from the state.
Your Honor, would note the summons was mailed to the defendant's last known address. The basis for the elevation of the warrant, Your Honor, the warrant amount. After reviewing the case, I do see that this was a hit and run. The defendant left the scene, and there is a significant amount of property damage exceeding $60,000 worth of damages. In addition, I do note the defendant has prior aggravated DUI convictions. And the amount of, or the drugs that were in his possession, Your Honor, looks like it was narcotics and dangerous drugs, counting 1, 2, 3, 4 separate different type of drugs. That is the concern, Your Honor, for continual risk to the community.
All right, thank you. Bond is set in the amount of $7,500. Court date is April 11th, 1:30, and arraignment and public defender is appointed. And we will order also no alcohol or illegal drugs and no firearms or other weapons, no return to the location. The other case domestic violence assault and domestic violence criminal damage. And I need a moment to review this. Okay, I don't have a lot of, well, I don't have any information actually on who the victim is in this case. I am going to order that you not commit any acts of domestic violence, no contact with the victim, and stay away from the victim's home and workplace. If this is someone that you reside with, then you get a one-time return visit with a police escort to get your belongings. We'll note the felony hold. I'm not going to hold you on the misdemeanor. Your court date is April 15th.
Judge, is this in city court or justice court?
This is in justice court. April 15th at 9:30. And I should do that. Oh. Okay, you're excused.
Thank you. Hampton, you got the submit.
Hello, what's your name?
Allison Townsend.
I don't have conditions of release. Well, let me refresh. Oh, I don't have any conditions of release. Okay, one moment. Oh, sure. Can we see the next person while the paperwork's being corrected?
Yes, Your Honor. Wilder.
Hello, state your name, please.
My name is Zachary Wilder.
You're Wilder, you're charged with possession of narcotic drug for sale, possession of narcotic drug, possession of dangerous drug, 2 counts, misconduct involving weapons, and possession of drug paraphernalia. And dates requesting $20,000 bond with pretrial services supervision if posted. At a minimum, no alcohol or illegal drugs. Don't drive without a valid license. No firearms or other weapons. And we'll hear from the defense.
Judge, we're asking that Mr. Wilder's released to pretrial services. He is fully employed. He's been in construction and he's been working for 10 years. Pretrial services identified these charges as nonviolent. His lifelong ties to Tucson confirmed housing, and it looks like it's been almost 10 years since his last arrest. And also, Judge, this quantity of M30s that we're seeing, that is oftentimes personal use that people are using. So we're asking that he's released to pretrial services, considering that these were nonviolent charges and it's been almost 10 years since the last arrest.
Thank you. We'll hear from the state.
Your Honor, the state's recommendation is based on the concern and risk to the community. The not only narcotics, but also the dangerous drugs that were packaged in separate baggies, separate quantities. There's definitely a sales indicia. In addition, Your Honor, the defendant does have 4 prior convictions. His last sentence ended in 2020. A history of probation revocation and also a concern of his prior convictions. But the main concern as well, Your Honor, is the M30 flashbang. That's actually a grenade that the defendant had in his possession. Those type of grenades, Your Honor, currently they're only being issued to the U.S. Armed Forces and the SWAT team. But yet the defendant had this grenade in his possession while he was in possession of multiple narcotics and dangerous drugs.
Thank you. Bond is set in the amount of $20,000 with pretrial services supervision if posted. Next court date, April 15th at 1:30. Public defender appointed. You're excused, sir. Ms. Townsend, you are charged with aggravated shoplifting. State's recommendation is $3,500 with pretrial services supervision. We're gonna order no return to Walmart, no alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or other weapons. And as to the bond request, we will hear from the defense.
Judge, we're asking that Ms. Townsend is released to pretrial services. Any bond is going to be akin to no bond for Ms. Townsend. She does have no priors, so she would be probation available at trial. So we're asking that she's released to pretrial services. The charges are nonviolent, and she's a lifelong resident of Tucson.
All right, thank you. We'll hear from the state.
Your Honor, the concern is the defendant is targeting multiple Walmarts, different locations. There is at least 5 separate incidents where the defendant is stealing from our local businesses. She might be facing only one count before the court, but based on the separate dates, separate offenses, she's actually also facing mandatory prison if convicted.
Thank you. Bond is set in the amount of $1,000. Public defender is appointed. Next court date, April 15th at 1:30. And you're accused.
Judge, I believe that's it for the felonies. May I be excused?
Yeah. Next item is a misdemeanor case in Ajo. Your name, sir?
Steven Sanchez.
Mr. Sanchez, you're charged with domestic violence, disorderly conduct, 2 counts. And I need a moment to review this.
Sorry.
Um, the citation lists 2 counts. Oh, there's one more I'm seeing here. Criminal damage and another domestic violence disorderly conduct. Sorry, I couldn't read that. The shading was dark. Okay, so you got 4 cases here. And let's see what pretrial services has to say. I'm appointing I'm appointing an attorney for you, Steve McClure. I'm also ordering no alcohol or illegal drugs, no acts of domestic violence, do not possess any firearms or other weapons, no contact of any kind with Jennifer Carreras or her 2 minor children, except for a one-time return visit to get your belongings with a police escort only. Do not go to her home, workplace, or the children's school. Bond is set in the amount of $2,500. And your next court date is October 10th, 9:00 a.m. Pima County Justice Court in Ajo. Okay, that's it. You're excused.
So I won't be released today?
Sorry?
I said, so I won't be released today?
You post the bond? Yes. If you don't, no.
4,500?
2,500.
Okay, thank you.